and start sharing this stuff around. So today I changed my mind because I don't feel like putting on the pajamas. We can do that tomorrow, I guess.
Like tomorrow you're going to be like, I didn't feel like putting on the pajamas.
Pretty much. But we're going to go over some of the stuff that I've been showing in my match studies. I'm just going to share these things into all the places I need to. One sec. Boom. Just got to put it in my student group and on my personal page, and then we are good to go. So I'm going to go over some ankle locks today because I really believe that ankle locks are underutilized because they offer a higher level of control than a heel hook. And my students hear this a lot because, you know, I'm a broken record with most of the things I say. So, yeah, I think ankle locks, when done correctly, offer just as much braking potential as a heel hook with more control because you can't necessarily roll out of a heel hook or out of an ankle lock. And if we go back and look at pancrase and old school Japanese combat wrestling and sambo and stuff like that, you see a lot of examples of people getting actual breaks with an ankle lock. And I just think it's something that's not taught as much, and obviously because jiu-jitsu still is coming into the leg locks, there's still a lot of the population that don't do leg locks in jiu-jitsu. There's also a lot of like fake news ankle locks that you'll see in catch and sambo and stuff just because of the pro wrestling aspect of it. But I'm going to show some weird ones today that do offer high braking potential. And there's also like a myth that ankle locks are just for big guys, and that's 100% wrong. Some of the tightest ankle locks I've ever felt have been from smaller people. And as much as I fucking hate this guy and I don't want to give him credit, Dom has like a really good straight ankle lock. So if 145 pound Dom can almost break my foot with a leg lock, specifically an ankle lock, you guys should be able to if you're that size or bigger. So let's talk about proper braking details on a traditional straight ankle lock. Then I'll talk about a reverse straight ankle lock and a top side straight ankle lock before we get into my pro wrestling ankle locks, and then we'll go into weird leg entanglements, and then we'll call it a day. As always, if you got questions, comment them here, and we'll go forward. Adam's already laughing at me making fun of Dom.
Hey Dom, if you're watching, we're in the same weight class.
Hey Dom, if you're watching, go fuck yourself. Okay, so I'm going to be over here, and I'm going to attack an ankle lock from Ashi, okay? And now see how I'm up here on my elbow? This is something we never want to do when we're attacking any form of leg lock, all right? Whether it's a heel hook or an ankle lock, we want to make sure my elbow connects to my hip, and that's just on a heel hook, okay? And I'm not even applying. Same thing on an ankle lock. So let's say I have a loose ankle lock grip, and we'll talk about placement of the wrist and all that good stuff here in a second, but if I'm here, how does this feel, Jenna? If I'm here, how does this feel?
That's very tight.
Yeah. And look how her hips come up, right? That's a surefire sign that you're doing something correctly in a leg entanglement. You see the hips come up. Now, sorry, I got distracted by a funny comment. When we're doing an ankle lock, I really like focusing on keeping my thumb up, because if I go flat, then I'm not using the blade of my bone. If I'm here, the way the Brazilians show it, and I go back, there's the tap. You can say tap too, right? Whereas if I'm with my wrist bone up, there's the tap, okay? So always use your musculature and skeletal structure in an efficient way. Don't use the flat part, always turn it up, okay? Now, you can go back and watch videos of Dean Lister talking about this. Dean Lister sits there and hits his wrists and forearms with collie sticks, where he does this. And I do this too. I did this for years. At a certain point, your bones get sharp enough and strong enough that you don't really need to keep doing it. If you're a psychopath like me, go ahead and keep doing that. Otherwise, if you're a normal person, just aim for your wrist bone, okay? If you slide down your thumb like a little skateboard ramp, you're gonna find this little bump, okay? That little bump is what I want you to put on their Achilles. So from here, I'm gonna go ahead. I normally just do it one-handed because that's all I really need. With good braking pressure, the second hand isn't necessary. It is nice to have it and ideal, but not necessary, okay? So from here, I'm in my entanglement. My wrist bone is on the Achilles, my thumb is up. My hand is not down on my dick. It's up in like, at least my stomach, maybe the center of my chest, if possible. And then I'm gonna take my elbow and put it behind my back. And now it's much tighter, okay? From here, all I have to do is start back arching.
Tap.
And I barely even move to get the finish. Now, something you might encounter is that the heel's gonna slip out. That's not a problem, because if you fall into the pin, it slips out, you're in an outside heel hook. So by that, I mean, if I'm in the ankle lock and it starts pinching, oh no, the heel pops out. Well, guess what? I now have my tight strike on the toes and my wrist bone. Man, your leggings are long. I'm gonna dress my wife on camera. Now, I'm here, okay?
Snapchat premium.
So, if by falling and pinching my elbow, it pops the heel out, it's okay, because one, look at the bite I have on our toes. Go ahead and try to pull your toes out. It's gonna come out eventually, but you see that? Okay? That was just me squeezing with my lats. Go ahead and pull them out. One more time for right there, okay? So, that's enough time to get this right here, okay? So, straight on, ankle lock, I'm here. I like to go elbow high for mine. The bishop grip works, but I go elbow high on mine. Pinch, she's tapping already. And that's the way when you do it correctly, you normally get the tap on the way down. And then when you start extending backwards, that's when you get the break. The reason I do that is because if I have her foot and I'm going straight back, this is just like a straight break, okay? And we have to go through all the muscles and tendons here to get a break. Whereas when I pinch it, it bends the foot a little bit, turns it a little bit more of a toe hold. And now I go down, and there, you see her already with just doing it with my hands and not an actual grip, it starts freaking out a little bit more. So we want to try to bend the foot and then come down and break it, okay? So, break mechanics on a traditional straight. Now I'm going to show you guys the topside ankle lock and a nice reverse that I go for from there. So, from standard Ashi. From here, I transfer the leg up and I control. In this position, I just like to come in, okay? Her hips are already up. I learned this from Nathan Orchard. He called it the exit wound, okay? I added a couple different details to mine, but this is very tight. Here, I don't really have to worry about my hand too much being super high. If it is, then we don't get the rotation, which isn't bad. But from here, I'll do my little Burt Reynolds, and I'll focus on taking my right shoulder, bringing it to the mat, and she's already tapped. I'll try to loosen it up so I can show you guys the hip extension as well. So I rotate to the mat. You okay here?
Yeah.
Now, from here, I'm going to go ahead and extend her away from me and back arch.
Tap.
Now, when I do that, as I rotate, it puts it in more of an esteem lock position, okay? If I don't rotate, you can still get it. What do you feel? What kind of difference do you feel?
It's more pain on the calf and the Achilles in this one. The other one, it's like this is going to pop out.
Shin bender, yeah. Now, I'm not a big fan of normally attacking shin benders, but this one's different because as I rotate, it rotates the foot as well. So, yes, you're going to feel it in your shin, but the break will happen in the tib fib, okay? Just because of the rotation here and the back arch, we get a really nasty finish, okay? So, you can either back arch or you can extend her away, okay? And that's not something I do a ton. This is the only finish that I really like trying to extend because I don't want to stop the entanglement, you know, or the circuit. Especially if it's like a closed circuit, like if I have a triangle or something like that, I never really want to extend it. I just want to back arch and hip it. So one more time on this, I'm in top side ashi. The difference is it's on the top side of my body rather than the bottom side. I'm going to go ahead and slide this grip in, thumb up, not flat part of my body, the ridge. Instead, I can come up to here and do it. I can do it from the Burt Reynolds, whatever you guys want. I rotate, and now
tap.
I extend myself away. Or we rotate, tap, and back arch. Now, I'm keeping my hand down my dick just because I don't want to break my wife's leg. When I'm actually trying to do this, I want to have it at least in my stomach. Up here is even better, okay? So, when we're talking about finishing mechanics on ankle locks and heel hooks, the height of your hand has a lot to do with it, and then your grip. So if it's down here, it's going to be loose. Up here, it's going to be much tighter, and then always using that blade. And then we can talk about different grips at another time because that gets into a whole different thing, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and look through the questions real quick, and then we will get going into the reverse ankle to power straight. Okay, cool. I might have started doing classes later, but that cuts into my Xbox time. You guys can always come back and watch. But, alright, cool. So, now we're going to talk about the reverse ankle. From that topside ashi position, you can do it from any of your ashis, your reaps, any of that stuff. I'm just doing it from topside because it's easier to demonstrate on camera. Maybe this isn't working. She's booting hard. Normally that's my trigger, the boot. As she boots, go ahead and boot. I take my left hand, I slide it under, and I try to shoot for right at the Achilles tendon. From here, elbow strike, and I have my grip in. Now, I don't know how to do this too without actually breaking your leg. There we go. It's nice and tight. Thumbs up on my left hand. I'm going to focus on bringing my right elbow to Jenna's hip.
Tap.
Jenna's suffering for your guys' knowledge.
I'm not gonna lie, that was probably the scariest part, was when you were like, I don't know how to do this without breaking your leg.
Yeah. So, from here, I shotgun underneath, come to a rear naked choke grip. I'm making fists the whole time, okay? Now, I'm not gonna move without like doing anything crazy. I'm trying to be really loose with this just because I feel how tight it is already. I want to really hit that oblique crunch and then start hipping it.
Tap.
And there's my finish. I moved maybe like 3 inches. Okay, so this is something that we can do. Actually, I hit this a lot from like the honey hole position, so give me a honey hole on this leg. And I'm in double trouble, right? So I'm here. I'm starting to attack this, and she boots hard. As she boots hard, I start coming through to here, and again, oblique crunch. If she's got a really strong, boot, this leads into my entry to the heel. Okay, so this is a really good position where I find a lot of effective attacks happen, especially this reverse ankle. So I'm here, I come under, I'm gonna keep it loose.
Tap.
1, and then the shoulder, and I start attacking my inside heel hook from this position as well. So that's your traditional straight, your top side straight, and your reverse ankle from the top side. Now, oh man, got heartburn today. It's all those goddamn Oreos I've been eating. You missed it. This morning, I was talking about how Oreos and coffee are a great mix because normally you dip it in milk. If you dip it in coffee, it's fucking next level. So, if you guys didn't see my morning broadcast, dipping your Oreos in your coffee, fucking next level. It's great. So, from now, I'm going to move into the pro wrestling ankle lock and the knee bend that we saw in today's match study with Minimum Man. So same position, but with Ashi. Okay, so let's scoot over here. And we'll have you rotate just a little bit this way. No. Yes, right there. Good. So, in this position, I showed you guys from like the fat boy how I like to come up and dig for the heel. I do the same thing here. I'll come up, and a lot of the times I'll bring this with me, with my ankle lock grip, okay? So from here, I have a couple different ways to finish. I can either sit back and finish. I can sprawl and finish. Or, if I want to be a real dick, I'm going to do this one real slow. I keep rotating through and bending her knee. Now, Jenna's very flexible, but look at this horrible bend right here. If I wanted to fucking break her leg, all I have to do is fall to my right shoulder, okay? But if I just keep going this way, I can get a knee bend without even applying the back arch in here. So as I come back and I back arch, I feel the tension in her knee and her foot, okay? But again, just move your leg out of the way. If I'm in this position, I'm attacking the knee bend and I really want to break the guy's fucking leg, I just do this. And by that position, their knee will snap. Ooh. And my ankle just snapped. Because I'm such a fucking dick. So, we're here. I'm in my Ashi position. They're hiding their heel well, they're prayer feeding, they're doing stuff that's really annoying. So, as I come up, I bring the foot with me. I come through, get my ankle lock grip. I call like this the Ric Flair ankle lock because I can sit here and do a bunch of pro wrestling shit, make the crowd calm down. It's not, I understand, it's not gonna break you though. From here, I come in, I sprawl my hips to the mat and finish, and then option 3. Okay, I'm not gonna do that to my wife anymore just because that is a super nasty bend in the foot. Yes. Adam says the knee hurts watching. Any non-yogi will be tapping like long time before Jenna does. And I love demonstrating with her because she is super flexible. So the nice thing about like breaking mechanics and shit like that is you can't lie about it. It's a technique that if you learn it correctly, the results are very evident because you actually get breaks when you need to. There's no bullshitting breaking mechanics. And I don't say this to sound like a badass, but like, if you've broken people's legs and arms multiple times, and it's because of like good technique and not just like Hulk smash, and most of the breaks I've gotten were before I was this big and before I had any real man strength, then you're able to talk about breaking mechanics, right? Or if your students go out and actually break people. If you're hurting people, that's not the same as breaking them. We never want to be in a situation where we have to break, kill, or seriously maim someone and not have the ability to. So if you're competing at a high level and you're not confident in your ability to break somebody or choke them unconscious, then you should think about doing something else, okay? Or at least getting better at those positions. All of those breaks I've shown you there will actually break somebody, as long as you do it correctly. Now, to reiterate, with ankle locks, we want to focus on wrist bone, thumb up, and that compression of the foot, right? This is what I want, and then the rest of the breaks come from your hips and your back arch, all right? Your core and your legs. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Breaking mechanic can be broken down into two things. Removing the flexibility from the joint and then applying your breaking force, okay? Your breaking mechanic is normally the removing of the flexion from whatever joint you're attacking, and the breaking power always comes from your hips, your backs, your legs, your core, okay? So that's the important stuff with this. Thanks, Tim's. I remember when we used to fight amateur MMA on the same cards. So yeah, I would definitely recommend spending a lot of time on your breaking mechanics because I learned it the hard way. I got into positions where I couldn't finish, and I've lost matches because of it. It's just not something you want to be into, especially when you're thinking self-defense. With that being said, let's go into some weird entanglements. I did this for my students not too long ago. I'm sure a lot of them forgot it already, but pulse and guard. And the reason we're doing pulse and guard is because I'm going to show you guys the reverse pulse and guard, also like an entry from Russian Cowboy into legs. But pulse and guard is very effective because you control both the legs, and your opponent or partner chooses which way they rotate, and that you basically choose which leg they want to let you break. Okay? So when Jenna's in, puts me in closed guard. Closed guard, if I'm not good at guard passing, or I'm not good at leg locks, could be very strong for her. If you're a good guard passer, have a decent base, and have good leg locks, this is exactly where you want to be, okay? Because literally all I have to do is stand up. Because to sweep me, she has to open her legs. If she doesn't, I mean, I've seen people do it before, but it still ends up in pulse and guard. I can literally stand like a moron with both my feet right here for her to go for her like traditional V-knee sweeps and stuff like that, whatever. But for her to attack me or sweep me, her legs have to open, okay? I got you on your neck, so I don't want to hurt your neck. So, when I'm here, I know, I'm a big strong man. I sit back and I throw my legs across, okay? Now, the only downside to triangling your legs is she does have a toe hold she can attack right here. So she could take her right hand, put it on my toes, her left hand's gonna reach around. Yeah, steering wheel toe hold too, or you could reach all the way, over the top like you were, all the way through. Take your left hand all the way through. Yep, and grab the wrist. I know it's hard because I got giant feet. Yeah. There. Okay, so she can attack a toe hold. That's the only downside to the triangle, because with the triangle, I have very strong control of her knees, and I also control her hips pretty well, especially when I come up higher. And now I'm controlling the hips, the knees, and then when I go for my braking mechanic, the ankles. So Jenna's gonna go ahead and rotate towards the camera, just for the sake of this one. When she rotates towards the camera, this is the heel hook I take. Because this is the one that exposes. If she rotates away from the camera, this is the heel hook I take because it exposes. If you are worried about your foot being re-attacked, come in here and do like a crisscross and then pinching and hamstring curls. Go ahead and try to move your knees. It offers just, if you work it, it offers just as good and powerful of a circuit without being able to really attack ankle locks, toe holds, all that shit. Yeah, I'm not trying to squeeze right now. You ready? Go ahead. Try to open your legs as hard as you can. Go. Ready? So, also from this position, we have ankle locks as well, right? So, maybe I didn't want to do heel hooks, or I'm in a rule set where heel hooks are illegal. I can still finish from this position. And I can also turn it into a Z-lock, which is even nastier. I can go into straight toe holds, steering wheel toe holds. I'm not going to go to a regular toe hold just because I know how tight it gets. But all of these attacks are open from pulse and guard. And pretty much anytime you're in a closed guard position or you're standing above your partner, you can drop back, wrap your legs around their legs, and do it. Sorry about my dog out there. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with her. We literally have left her for like 20 minutes. And she's in an air-conditioned house with food and water and other animals to play with, and she wants to be with us. Anyways, pulse and guard is really good. My student Gage was super effective with this. He, as a blue belt and white belt, was tapping out purples and browns in competition with this, just because he got really good at the outside heel hook, inside heel hook from this position, and he had the legs for it. I don't have the legs for it, but I still play this position a lot, just because it is very effective. If you have long legs and this isn't in your arsenal, you're kind of fucking up. And the nice thing is, let me just put you in that position again. If you ever want to abandon this position, it's very easy to transition to a reap, and therefore transition to the honeycomb, okay? So it's a very effective position where you can get a lot of submissions and there's very little risk for yourself, okay? I'm gonna show you guys the leg locks from the Russian Cowboy and the counter leg locks from the Russian Cowboy. It's just reverse pulse and guard. So if Jenna mounts me, you've seen the flexible people who can like pull their legs through here. I have a lot of students that do this, and bam, you end up in pulse and guard, okay? Russian Cowboys, just reverse mount, okay? A lot of people will go to mount and then turn around. So just go to a reverse mount. Because now they can attack my feet, okay? Same thing can be done here, where if I'm flexible enough, I can now come here, extend her out, and start attacking toe holds of my own from this position. Toe holds, heel hooks, not so much ankle locks. Toe holds and heel hooks are pretty much the only thing I'll do here. From here, I can now transition to this leg by just extending and coming through. And now I have outside heel hooks from this position as well. So, same can be done from the top position. You just roll through and triangle your legs. So those are some of the unorthodox leg lock entries and positions that I play with, mostly just because my coach Bill's super old school and did a lot of this in his shoot fighting days, and I also deal with catch guys, sambo guys, and I just study a lot of old school leg entanglements that we don't really see as much anymore. So I'm going to go through comments now.
Do you have anything
The
else
entry again from the close guard. Yeah, one more thing. I'm going to re-show that entry from the close guard one more time for Adam. So literally you're in the close guard. You start standing up. The minute they grab your feet and they go to sweep you, you just sit down, throw your legs over, and now I'm in pulse and guard. Triangle, crisscross, keep them here. I don't care, whatever you want. Ankle locks, heel hooks, toe holds. Literally every leg lock is from this position. What were you going to say?
Are you done showing stuff?
Yes.
Okay. Keep answering questions. I'm just going to open the door.
Oh, for the dogs? Okay. If you guys have any questions or anything specific, don't let them knock over that camera. That's a really expensive camera.
Oh, come here, love.
Hey, baby. If you guys have any questions, now's the time to ask. I'll sit around for like a minute or two while you guys tighten. It doesn't have to be leg locks. Whatever you want, jiu-jitsu, training, methodology, whatever works best for you guys. We'll go through the different streams and see what's up. Yeah, Josh Timms is a good dude. We used to fight on a lot of the same amateur MMA cards together. And we have a mutual friend, my white belt student, Scott Weaver, who makes awesome knives now. So if you're looking for a badass homemade knife, go check that out. By the way, also, Belt Checker has trading cards now. So if you ever wanted to be on a trading card, just go ahead and make a Belt Checker profile, and then you can print up trading cards of yourself and your students and friends. I will not choke my dog, Guy, you fucking filthy hobbit.
Lola, come here. You're precious.
Man, I'm fucking big. I don't realize how big I am until I look at video and see you and see tiny Lola and all that fun shit. Alright, cool. Tomorrow, hi, thanks. I have, at 10:30, we have match studies. 12:30, 1 o'clock, I'm going to have a podcast with Keith Corian. We're going to go watch some of his old matches, some of his favorite matches, and just kind of talk some shit and hang out. And then at 7 p.m., we have class again. Friday, who do I have Friday? I have someone coming on. Fuck, I don't remember now. I already had a Goozy. I didn't write it down either. I have someone else coming on the podcast Friday.
We also have a wall of whiteboards, and you didn't make sure it down.
I got my hit list. I have tournaments that I'm running, business ideas, and that's it. I am going to have Mitch from Combat Night on here in the next couple days, maybe early next week. Maybe I'll have him on Friday if I don't remember who. Probably have my boys Joe and Guy on sometime this week too. But I am going to be interviewing more and more people who are either in this industry, combat sports, entrepreneurs, things that I find interesting. Think about it as the poor man's Joe Rogan podcast with someone who's even dumber than Joe Rogan. So that's me. If you have anyone that you'd like me to interview, shoot me a message, comment on here, whatever you guys want, and we'll have a nice little conversation. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed class. Hope you guys are staying safe. Yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.